One soldier, one shot, one dead tank worth $4 million gone in under 2 seconds. Russia rolled into Ukraine with the most feared tank fleet in Europe. Hundreds of T-72s, T-80s, T-90s, modern armor designed to crush anything in its path. Military analysts predicted Kyiv would fall in 72 hours. They were wrong, because waiting in the hands of Ukrainian infantry was a weapon most people had never heard of. A disposable tube, barely a meter long, costing around $33,000, that was quietly destroying $4 million tanks before the crews inside even knew they'd been targeted. This is the NLAW. And by the time you finish watching this, you'll understand exactly why it changed the rules of modern warfare forever.
Before we go further, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. It genuinely helps us bring you more content like this.
The NLAW, Next Generation Light Anti-Tank Weapon, was born from a very specific problem. Cold War anti-tank weapons were heavy, complicated, and required trained crews. The British and Swedish militaries wanted something different, something one soldier could carry, learn in an hour, and fire in seconds, without exposing themselves to the enemy. In 2002, Saab and Thales began a joint project. By 2009, the first NLAWs entered service. The weapon they produced weighs just 12.5 kilograms, about the weight of a large bag of rice. It's 1 meter long, completely disposable. One shot, throw it away, walk out alive. At $33,000 per unit, it's not cheap, but the tank it destroys costs 100 times more. That math alone tells you everything about why armies started paying attention. But here's where it gets genuinely interesting, because the price tag is the least remarkable thing about it.
Most anti-tank missiles require the operator to track the target for the entire flight. That means staying exposed, visible, vulnerable, until the missile hits. The NLAW flips that entirely. It uses what's called predicted line of sight guidance. You track a moving tank for just a few seconds before firing. The missile's onboard computer calculates where the tank will be when the warhead arrives and steers itself there. You fire, you move. The missile handles the rest. But the guidance system is only half the story. The real killer is the attack mode. Most anti-tank missiles hit a tank in the front, where the armor is thickest, sometimes half a meter of hardened steel. The NLAW doesn't care about the front. It aims for the top. The overfly top attack mode sends the missile flying just 1 meter above a tank's roof, then fires a shaped charge downward, straight through the thinnest armor on the entire vehicle, sometimes just a few centimeters. No tank in existence has defeated that. And if that wasn't enough, the NLAW's motor ejects the missile a few feet before the main charge ignites. You can fire it from inside a building, through a window, without the backblast destroying the room around you. Most people never found out what this meant in actual combat. Until Ukraine.
When Russia invaded Ukraine in February 2022, the UK had already been quietly shipping NLAWs to Ukrainian forces, thousands of them. By the time the first Russian tank columns pushed toward Kyiv, Ukrainian infantry were waiting, hidden in buildings, behind trees, inside ditches, armed with disposable tubes that could kill anything on tracks. The results were catastrophic for Russia. Analysts estimated the NLAW was responsible for between 30 and 40% of all Russian tank losses in the early stages of the war. Entire armored columns were stopped, not by airstrikes, not by artillery, by individual soldiers with shoulder-fired weapons that cost less than a used car compared to what they destroyed. One Ukrainian ATGM operator from the 128th Mountain Assault Brigade described it directly. If properly aimed, they'll hit the target 100% and destroy it. All these metal lattices welded on Russian tanks, completely useless against them. The battlefield footage confirmed it. Russian tank crews began welding cage armor, metal grills onto their vehicles in desperation. The NLAW punched straight through anyway. The UK took notice. In December 2022, they signed a new $280 million contract with Saab to restock their own depleted supplies, with deliveries running through 2026. But what came next surprised even the manufacturers.
The NLAW's performance in Ukraine triggered something unprecedented. Countries that had never considered man-portable anti-tank weapons a priority suddenly changed their entire defense doctrine. France, one of the most capable military powers in Europe, watched the footage from Ukraine and made a decision. By 2025, they began replacing their aging Arex anti-tank missiles with the NLAW, making it standard issue for French infantry. A nation that builds its own tanks decided it needed this weapon to kill other people's tanks. Meanwhile, Saab CEO Michael Johansson announced the company was targeting 400,000 units of annual production across its portable weapon systems, a number unthinkable before 2022. The demand wasn't coming from one country, it was coming from everywhere at once. Sweden, the UK, Finland, Luxembourg, Indonesia, Malaysia, and now France, all operating or integrating the NLAW. Each country drawing the same conclusion from Ukraine. The age of relying on your own tanks to stop enemy tanks is over. The infantry soldier, armed with the right tool, can do it alone. But there's one comparison that keeps coming up. One question that never goes away.
NLAW versus Javelin. It's the debate every defense analyst has had since 2022. Both are fire and forget. Both can kill a main battle tank. Both have proven themselves in Ukraine. So which one wins? The Javelin costs $176,000 per missile. The NLAW costs around $33,000. The Javelin reaches out to 2,500 meters. The NLAW is optimized for 20 to 800 meters. The Javelin uses infrared lock-on before firing. The NLAW predicts and fires immediately. Ukrainian operators answered the question better than any analyst could. They don't pick sides. They use both. NLAW for cities, buildings, close ambushes. Javelin for open ground, long range. Different weapons solving different problems in the same war. What the NLAW proved, beyond the kill counts and contract values and export lists, is something more fundamental. It proved that the most expensive piece of hardware on a battlefield is only as survivable as the cheapest counter to it. A $4 million tank, manned by a trained crew, backed by years of military doctrine, stopped cold by one soldier who learned the weapon in an hour. That's not just a weapon story. That's a warning to every military on Earth planning its next war around armor. The NLAW is the answer they weren't expecting, and now they can't ignore it.